Rich dad, poor dad. Most of you are aware of what that means, and it's usually in the financial side of things. But what I want to share with you today is around something else, more like rich attitude, poor attitude. Now, some of you know I grew up with a Marine stepdad, which means I was his redheaded stepchild. How do you think that went? He said I would argue with a fence post, and man, we had lots of battles, right? Between stepson and stepfather. He was a Marine Vietnam vet. So with that came this how how can I say it? This lid that would blow, okay? And with that lid that would blow, man, I just felt like even though I don't know what Vietnam was like, I was experiencing it day in and day out through a lot of my childhood. Incoming. Now, look, much empathy and compassion. Some of the stories that I heard that he went through during that season, man, can't, you know, what it would take to grow through that and not be that. So I want to honor that. When I was about 13, this guy moves in next door. He said, I came with the house. And he goes, I'm a Marine Vietnam vet. And I'm like, another one? My God, one in my life, not enough. But this Marine was different. Rich, joyous attitude. He'd had this zeal and this joy for life that was just undeniable and couldn't be taken away. We did so much stuff together. We built a barbecue stand together called Ain't Y'all Hungry? We rebuilt a 1950 Chevy from the ground up. I shined that thing and scrubbed it. We took it to car shows. We even made it to the front of Hot Rod magazine. We would go out to eat. We'd go to trade days. He taught me. I mean, I drove around all the time with him. We did so much together. And here's the thing about him. There was a joy no matter what it was we were doing. And if you knew the difference in the physical ability of each of them, it would bog your mind. I'll share it with you in a few minutes. When my neighbor, Gary, passed away, my father called me, my stepdad, and he said, I went to his visitation night. And he said he looked so good in his dressed blues. I couldn't believe it. I don't get calls from my stepdad often. And then he even went to his funeral because they didn't talk. They almost repelled one another because it was a rich attitude, poor attitude, this joyous zeal. Life is for me versus life is against me. There was just a lot of resistance, polar opposites. And that he went just blew me away. And he said these words to me. Braun, I'm so glad you had someone like him in your life. Man, wow. What did he mean? I'm so glad you had someone like him in your life. Who do you have in your life? And then where this is convicting for me, who am I in the lives of others? Am I a rich attitude, poor attitude? I remember getting really mad at my daughter one time saying, you make me so mad. Rich attitude, poor attitude. Leadership lid. The truth was, she couldn't make me mad. That undoes everything that I'm teaching her. I remember the slime going everywhere, and there was this new song out that says, Nothing Can Steal My Joy, and I loved it. And my son looked up at me when I was losing my joy and says, Ain't nothing gonna steal your joy, Dad? It was perfect timing from my son. I had a lot to work on and to grow through. Now, I want to come back to my neighbor Gary who passed away. There was a license plate he had that said 5PHR. I didn't know what that meant. He didn't talk about it very often. 5 Purple Hearts. See, Gary, when he was in Vietnam, had broke his neck and couldn't move his arms or legs. Paralyzed, quadriplegic. All he could do, and he is one of the longest living quadriplegics because of his joy, his attitude, his outlook on life. All those things we did, I was pushing him around in a hospital cart until he could get one that he could drive with his chin. Every piece of food I had to feed him. He had a straw, I had to do that. Every restaurant, all those things I was telling you about, I was pushing him around. And he just had this joy. Now, think about it. Stepdad, physical capabilities. Neighbor, no physical capabilities, but a different attitude, which is why he said, I'm so thankful you had someone like him in your life. So today, are you going to have a rich attitude or a poor attitude? This fired off on me because somebody listened to my voicemail and it says, remember to have an attitude of gratitude. Lead whole, live fulfilled.